What's going on, fellas? People out there in the world today. We are live and we are back. Guys Talking Sports is now here, now on YouTube and now on Facebook Live. So we are back. We got a lot to talk about. I got my fellas with me. Of course, we got Ace and Smooth, or as I say, Nice and Smooth, back again. Fellas, what's going on? It's good to be back. How you guys doing today?
Man, happy New Year to everybody. It's great. It's been a long time coming. Look forward to bringing that heat. Can't wait to get started.
Exactly. It's been a long time coming. A lot's been going on. We missed a lot, but I'm glad to be back and we're going to make it better than ever. And the vino today is Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, I'm a vodka man, but I'm trying it with cranberry and cherry, cran cherry.
That's too hard for me for a Friday night, but you can have that all to yourself.
Hey, yeah, I can keep all that. Right now, it's just water. Water for me. In a big one of those old style jars. So I have to get my water in today. So let's get right into it because we definitely have a lot to talk about, a lot of comments to make about a lot of stuff in the NFL, in the football scene that is going on. Of course, the playoff starts right now, or it's been going on right now. And right now, the latest that we have going on that's coming up is the Ravens versus the Bills, which is one of the most anticipated AFC semifinal matchups there is. So, fellas, let's start there with Baltimore and the Buffalo Bills. Let's get your takes on who do you guys think has the advantage in this game and who is needs to win this game more. Do you believe that Lamar Jackson, who is one of the most who's been recent MVP as a quarterback, do you believe that he has more to gain from winning, or do you believe Josh Allen has more to gain from winning? So whoever want to start can start, but who do you think has the advantage here, and who you do you think needs to win this game?
I let age go before beauty. So that means Adrian, you're up.
Oh shit! Wow. Okay, you got me cussing in 2025. What's wonderful. All right, I see. That's where we're going. Um,
Hey, before you do that, hey, hold back on that. Let's make that a resolution of not to be doing all that this year, okay?
I try not to drop too many f bombs.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
uh, well, I'm down here in Maryland, Raven Country. The talk is, the Ravens beat Buffalo. Well, pretty much stomped Buffalo. I believe it was either week 4 or week 5 when they played initially. But obviously, the Ravens is not the same Ravens. The Bills definitely aren't the same Bills. So it's going to be an intriguing matchup. The Ravens, ever since week 11, their defense, I believe, is the number 1 defense in the NFL. But then you have Josh Allen in Buffalo, where no one gave Buffalo a chance because, obviously they got rid of Stephon Diggs. They had some changes in the wide receiver room. So they didn't think that, Buffalo would be the same offensive juggernaut that they were in the past. But lo and behold, it just goes to show as long as you got capable wide receivers and you got an elite quarterback and Josh Allen, anything is possible in Buffalo. So I would think here in Baltimore, in the Baltimore area, they're looking at this as like a mini Super Bowl, because it's going to propel either one of them probably to win the MVP. So I think both of them they both need to pop out and show out on Saturday. It's just a matter of what defense is going to show up.
Well, for me, I think whoever wins the MVP is going to lose his game. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills at home in the cold because I think Lamar Jackson is going to take his back-to-back, MVP. I hear you, Ace. I'm pretty sure that down there in the Baltimore Ravens are all thinking the same thing that they're going to win this game, but they're at home. It's in Buffalo. The weather's going to be cold. It's going to be frigid, but not necessarily frigid. But it's going to be cold. and I think this benefits at home because it's to me it's a push almost, and I would take Buffalo because they're at home. Both of them both of them give me pause because they both teams have choked in the playoffs in the past. We saw the Ravens choke last year when he had Kansas City, and they should have beat Kansas City. We saw Buffalo choke, the year before when they should have won. So I'm thinking the Zay Flowers issue is going to hurt him then, but I think um, the running game is going to be paramount in this series. So if Derrick Henry has over 100 yards, I would say the Ravens win, but I'm going to go with Buffalo in this one because I think that Josh Allen is going to show his behind because he wants that match. Well, they both want their licks back against Kansas City.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think this is Buffalo's year.
I I'm not mad at that selection. I'm not mad at all. Um, it's interesting because Baltimore has the advantage, obviously, in the run game because you got to respect Lamar Jackson when he has the ball in his hands. But Derrick Henry is obviously Derrick Henry. But then also they got the receiving back, which I can't think of his name off the top of my head, which is vital when it comes in the pass game. But then he'll also gas you for big runs if you have him in there in the run game as well. But then in the pass game for Baltimore, I have to really take a look at you say no Zay Flowers. That's cool. But then you got Mark Andrews, but then you also have their other tight end, Isaiah Likely, who Baltimore has a habit of splitting him out as a wide receiver, and he's been putting in damage that way. So you got two legit, two high volume, two capable tight ends that are able to do some things. And then also Rashad Bateman, he in his first couple years in the Ravens system coming out of Minnesota, he's been hurting all the time. He hasn't really showed his full potential. But this year, he's really come out there and really started to make some noise and has been a very capable number two in this offense. So I get the hype with Buffalo. I get the home field advantage. I get all that, but Buffalo gets cold. But don't sleep on Baltimore. It's cold out here too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if the cold is going to be a factor when it comes down to this particular game.
Yeah. Here's an interesting stat in that regards. Josh Allen is one of has have a good career games when it comes to playoffs, except for when he plays the Baltimore Ravens defense. He has a career passing of a 92, but when he plays the Baltimore Ravens, it drops down to under 80. So that's something that if Baltimore can get, if their defense is underrated in a sense. And if they apply the pressure on Josh Allen, the question becomes how well can he adjust, especially because regardless of the fact, the winner of this needs to get to the point of playing the winner of Kansas City and what's the other team? This is escaping me.
Texans.
Texans. Thank you. And right now, to be honest, I kind of wanted it to be well. It's going to happen anyway. So, um, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen has something to prove. Bottom line, before they even get to face the winner of Kansas City and the Texans, they have to prove that they can beat each other. So something is going to give. I agree. I think that the Bills, I think more importantly, I think if Buffalo loses this, I don't think we can talk as much talk as them being a threat to Kansas City going forward. Um, to be honest, you can say the same thing for the Ravens. So I think the winner of this matchup catapults them into the threat of challenging the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm to be honest, I'm going, which brings us to the next stage of this because Kansas City Chiefs, of course, are playing the Texans on the other AFC semifinal game, and the question I have for you guys is that do any of you guys believe that the Texans have a shot of beating Kansas City?
A shot, yeah. Um, on any given Sunday, anything can happen. But am I confident the Texans are going to beat them? Not necessarily, but I mean, you're getting a lot of their primary offensive weapons back that
Mhm.
weren't there for majority of the season. Pacheco has got a couple of weeks of rest, um, and the receivers are all healing up. So it's I'm not going to say that they can't, but I would lean towards Kansas City, but I would not be surprised if Houston comes in there and shocks the world.
I agree. Especially if that Houston defense shows up like it did last week. Now,
Mm.
mind you, um, the Chargers and their QB, which his name slips me right now,
Jason Herbert,
Herbert.
Justin
Yes,
Herbert.
he uh, he did not have his best game. I will say that. Very uncharacteristic of him. Um, but something about Houston's defense, they just came out, and really put a number. Now the biggest question is, what will the defensive coordinator for Houston have in store for Kansas City that they may not have seen in the past? If they could pull that out and CJ Stroud plays within himself and doesn't try to play like a superhero,
Mm.
it's a possibility. Nobody says that Kansas City is unbeatable. It's just that you can't necessarily beat yourself. And if they go out there and play within themselves and that defense really comes out and shows that they're capable of beating Kansas City, I think it's more than possible because CJ Stroud can be that dude to go out there and make it happen. But they've been so up and down all season, so they haven't really shown true consistency like they did in Stroud's rookie year. So it'll be interesting. Since Houston is coming out there with a lot of momentum, they played well last week. You know, Kansas City might really just come out lackadaisical because this is not their first rodeo. They might come out there thinking it's this Houston. Ain't nothing to worry about. Our bigger fish is either Buffalo or Baltimore, and maybe just might sleep on them. So just like Smooth said, it could be a scenario where they come out and thinking that they can rough shop and be shocked.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a big thing because Will Anderson is going to have a lot to say, and he had a lot to say in that Chargers game. So if he has a lot to say in this game, it's going to be a big thing. And Kansas City's weakness is always going to be the weakness. Is that line, that left tackle, and the left tackle is being helped a bit. The last 2 weeks prior to the season, but yeah, I mean it's. Do I think Kansas City is going to win? Yes. Would I be surprised if Houston, Texas won? Not necessarily because, it's hard. They've got a lot of injuries and it's hard. So, but like I said, a lot of their offensive weapons are coming back. So they're coming back at the right time. So, will they make a run? Of course they will. But this is going to be a good game. I think if there is going to be an upset in this weekend, I would.
We missed that part.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
No, I'm saying sorry. If there's going to be upset this weekend, I think the upset will come from Texans and the Kansas City.
Nah, I agree. To be honest, for all the reasons that you guys pointed out, to be honest, I'm going to be that person to say that also believe that the Texans is going to win. Um, I wouldn't be surprised as well, um, because at the end of the day, I believe that even though Kansas City, I really believe that Kansas City may not be prepared for this, and I believe that may be something where, in given time, that would give, I mean, the Texans all the ammo. It need to be it needs to be a perfect game in a sense for them. But I think that they will keep it close to the point where they can. I mean, some couple of mistakes can be made by Kansas City, and Texans can slip right in there and win the game on like a last second field goal or something like that. So I will not be surprised if that is the case. Um, but the thing about it is that at the end of the day, we have a lot that we have to in regards to just like overall, because these last games within the AFC, everyone believes that whoever comes out the AFC is automatically going to win the Super Bowl, and I don't think that that is the case with the NFC still lurking around. Of course, the NFC has their playoffs that they have as well, and I believe it's the Lions versus the um, why my mind is escaping me today. Lions versus I forgot who they
Washington,
playing.
Washington, Washington.
Washington. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So with the upstart, I mean, because I know Baltimore and Washington fans out there are just loving the fact that both their teams are in the playoffs. So do we believe that the momentum is still going to carry for the Commanders for them to eventually upset? Do you believe it's an upset if they beat the Detroit Lions? Let's start there.
Well, let me first of all let me just make sure we are correct with our playoff.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh
Because
yes,
I
yes.
did.
So it is Detroit, Washington, and Eagles, Rams. Okay, so yes, we are
Yes.
correct on that aspect.
Hmm.
Um, well, look, I put it like this: Washington is playing with house money. They're not expected to win. Um, so with that being, with that being out there, they can go out play fast. They can go out play free, and not have to worry about if they win or lose because they're not supposed to be there technically.
True.
So I it would not shock me in the least if it would not shock me in the least if Washington pulls an upset in Detroit because Detroit is sitting there thinking about it's just Washington and it went to KC. So Detroit really needs to tread lightly in this situation because I'm, hey, they are playing lights out. I'm not saying they should have won last week versus Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay on offense had a costly fumble. That was really the deciding factor. But to me, that game was pretty much even the entire way. Now, I'm just curious to hear what you think about that scenario.
Well, I mean, I think the Detroit has a lot of injuries on the defensive side, so I think it's all going to come to a head. Whether it comes to this weekend or next weekend is going to be the question. But I think they do all have those injuries are going to come to bite them in the butt eventually. Um, I I don't know. That's a good question because that's a very good game. My guess would be if I was put money on it, I would put money on Detroit because that's a safe bet. Um, but also Jaden Daniels is a rookie, and so eventually he's going to hit that rookie wall. There's never been a rookie, from what I can remember, and I could be wrong, that's won a Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be Jaden Daniels this year. I think he's good, but I don't think he's that good. I think he has a year or two before he's really like the man. But still, like you said, uh, it's going to be a tough one. But I will go with Detroit. But you know, once again, would I be now? I'll be shocked if the Redskins beat. Detroit, because I think the Eagles don't want to see any parts of the Commanders.
Oh, because of the last game they played. Uh,
Because the division rival was the last game, and the Eagles, I put it out there. I'm not saying they're playing with house money. That they're on a very thin strip. Are they
well,
good? Yes. Are they as good as some people are saying? No.
the Eagles.
The Eagles, yes.
Hmm, okay.
Eagles have flaws. They just haven't had a team that exposed their flaws. And I think the Redskins could expose their flaws. I'm not sure the Detroit Lions could exploit their flaws because they don't have all their defensive people with them. If they had Agent Hutchinson and the rest of the defensive players all healthy,
Hmm.
by all means, Detroit Lions. And it's funny because Detroit Lions have sucked for so many years, and we're sitting here saying the Detroit Lions are going to make it to the NFC Championship game. Is almost like I can't believe I'm saying that.
I feel you, but they. Let's be honest. Do you really think that the Niners should have beat Detroit last year in the NFC Championship?
Well, yeah, that's how the game went.
I mean, when you base it on the pure outcome, but on paper, who was the better squad? Mm. Well, I mean, I guess paper, I guess would be the Niners,
49ers, I'll say
right?
49ers.
But Detroit came out there swinging, hit it with that two-piece combo, and had the Niners stunned like crap.
But they couldn't maintain
That's true. That
because
is
the
true.
offense stalled and the defense let it up. And eventually once the 49ers got their footing, they found out about it. But in this case, like I said, I think the Eagles don't want to see no parts of the Commanders, but they prefer the Lions because the Lions are a little bit less on the defense.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, that's one thing the Eagles definitely don't want to see. Um, but to be honest with you, and I'm going to keep it as much as I, I know I got people rooting for the Eagles to beat the Rams. I'm very curious to see if the Rams defense can hold them. And if they can hold them, I would not be surprised about the Rams beating the Eagles. I think they have the momentum. Eagles have the momentum as well because everybody's expecting them to make it to the Super Bowl. If they don't make it to the Super Bowl, I don't know what else to tell you because I know Philly is going to have a rough day. Philly fans is just going to go crazy if they don't make it to the Super Bowl. So
I won't.
I know you. I know you won't, but I'm just saying with everything that the Rams, I like the Rams momentum. I should say more so than the Eagles. With a lot of stuff that's going on in LA, and we could talk about you know the fires and everything there. They are at a position where they have the momentum, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the country is rooting for LA. So um, I'm to be honest, I'm not rooting, but I have a very interest in the game because I'm very interested to see how the Rams come out and their momentum and to see what energy that they have. Um, Now, in regards to the Commanders and Lions, I put the Lions in the same as the Bills. If the Lions don't get to where they need to be to make it at least into the NFC title game, then I can't I can't see them as a threat going forth. That's just my opinion. They have every opportunity. They have, I mean, the Lions are the favorite for me, so that gives them every opportunity to do what they need to do to make it to at least to the title game. If they don't make it to the title game, I think it's a bust. And to be
The
honest, I can say
Lions?
this: the Lions,
Oh,
the Lions, they should at least make it to the title game. With all the experience that they have, um, with everything that's in, they should make it. They should at least make it to the title game. After that, if they don't win it and don't make it to the Super Bowl, that's one thing. But I expect them to make it at least to the title game. Now, I'm not saying that I'm rooting for them, and I'm not saying that the Commanders won't or don't have an opportunity to beat them. I'm just saying with the experience that the Lions have, they should be able to win that game. And if they don't win that game, and the Commanders come in, who is like rookie in these playoffs, and come in and beat the Lions, that's a problem. That's a problem.
I agree with you. I mean, based off of their experience from last year, based off of all the skilled players, based off their offense, they could put up points with anybody. Defense, I think if Detroit wanted to get into a shootout, they're most capable to get into a shootout and have a very good chance to win. But the Commanders' defense didn't play half bad last week. That was ironically that was one of the better games of the entire weekend last weekend. So, and that's not saying anything negative against Tampa Bay and Baker, because Baker had a hell of a season. Obviously, he had a lot of interceptions, but that's Baker.
A lot.
He's a gunslinger. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to throw that rock. But he threw for over 4,000 yards. So I mean, he did something right. I'm very curious about the game tomorrow. Eagles Rams. I think it's all going to come down to how well Jalen Hurts. If he plays well, I mean Saquon is going to be Saquon. He's going to do something spectacular. I know his legs are, he's well rested. He didn't play the last week. He had a nice 2-week stretch where he could rest himself, get his body right. I'm just curious about the rust. With football, you ain't been playing for a couple weeks. There's a little rust you got to shake off, and he ain't been hitting 2 weeks. Let's see how that whole thing plays out. So it wouldn't shock me, like you said, Al, if the Rams go ahead and pull that upset. And if they do pull that upset, I wonder if the Eagles gonna kind of blow it up a little bit, get rid of their coach, because it seems like they're itching for a reason to get rid of him.
Oh, if they lose to the Rams, he's gone. He is absolutely gone.
I believe it. I totally believe it. It looks like they're just looking for any reason just to get rid of him. It's like he's being scrutinized for every little thing that he does at this point.
He might try to go. They might try to go for Dion.
Oh, wow. Well, that's another conversation, boy. I tell you right there.
I was about to say that is another conversation. Okay. Nah, but to be honest, I have a feeling that even if the Eagles did win the Super Bowl, they still would get rid of that coach. I really believe that. I don't understand why, but I just have a feeling that even if like this, the Eagles could just flat out just beat all the teams, make it to the Super Bowl, win by 20 points, and the head coach was, for whatever reason, I think they will still find a reason to fire the head coach.
It's possible. That's very possible.
Matter of fact, didn't they do that before?
Yeah. He I forgot the coach's name, but he had won the Super Bowl, had one not so great season, and he fired him.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, it was the coach for the Jags. He just got fired again after one season.
After one season, yeah.
Right.
I'm amazed the fact that how many coaches get let go after one season.
Bro, it's a cutthroat. It's cutthroat.
I understand.
Nobody gets a fair shake at all.
It is business. I'm just amazed that all it takes is one season to be like, nah, we ain't riding with you no more.
Yeah, I mean they did Antonio Pierce like that, and they didn't even have a quarterback.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? My man didn't have a quarterback. Was bouncing between the two all season long, and they still was like, you know what? Thank you for your service, but no, thank you. And it's cut him loose. I'm just like, wow. It's like, talk about a stressful job.
I know. I was about to say, like, and to be honest, and this gives me like, and I could generalize this, but when it comes to teams that are looking to like in the NFL to just lose to get the highest picks, Like, coaches ain't thinking about that at that point because who's to say that you're going to be there next year to coach the the person that you're trying to draft? So,
Right,
like,
right.
coaches is thinking like, right now I'm trying to win for this season because every season at this point could be my last season. To be honest, every game could be my last season. The way things are right now, like you said, as cutthroat as they are, so
Man, every
it's crazy.
every game could be your last game. Shit, you can get canned in first 8 games. They just say, you know what, this ain't working. Let's just go ahead and just get rid of them now.
And you
And
could
don't
be
even
4 and
bother.
4.
Right, right. They're like, dude, give me an opportunity to see what we could do.
You could be 4 and 4, have half of your roster completely injured, and still could get fired, and for
You
no
want
apparent reason. Like you said, like Antonio Pierce, you could have no quarterback and still get fired after a 4-4 start.
Man, I guess if you, I mean, I understand it's high risk, high reward.
Mm,
Come in there and make some serious dollars. If you win, longevity. But the crazy thing about it is these coaches' contracts are guaranteed.
yeah,
So it's like they still getting paid, but it's like, dude, at least let me see what I could do. Give me one more
exactly.
thing.
And to be honest, the fact that you have to argue your case after during the first season is still, to me, is crazy, and that's something I would never understand. Which is one of the reasons why I always say, I respect the coaches. Like,
Right.
I get the fans, and I get the fans and the players and everything, but I still respect the coaches for what they do because it's a hard job. It definitely is a hard job.
It's no love. It's a hard type of situation. It's like, damn. But
Yep.
hey, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes with the territory, that's for sure.
Pretty much.
um. So with that being said, we talked about all. I mean, did we mentioned about the Rams and Eagles? I assume that y'all talked about them already.
Hmm.
yes.
And the Commanders and Lions. So let's do this before we go. Give me your takes on who do you think is going to win and advance to the next round, the conference championship round.
Hmm.
Let Ace go first.
Let's see. If I had to sit there, am I putting money on this or just
just no, just talk.
in the AFC, if I had to, conventional methods would want you to believe it's probably going to be Chief Bills. But in my gut, I would love to see Ravens, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I honestly believe that Houston's going to pull an upset. I think it's going to be Ravens Texans in the AFC Championship, and I think Lamar may get his shot to Super Bowl. In the NFC, whew, boy, I think Jalen Daniels' luck runs out. It's going to be Detroit. And you know what? I think I think this might be the year. I think the Rams get past the Eagles,
Hmm.
and I'm going to say Detroit, LA, Houston, Baltimore. My final four.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna think I'm gonna go to the opposite on you, Ace. I think Kansas City beats Houston. I think it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a close game up until probably the fourth quarter, and then you know the Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey magic will you know enter in, and we'll probably have a We'll probably have a Taylor Swift sighting in the press box. Um, as much as I would love to see the Eagles lose to the Rams, I don't think they're going to lose in this weather that's coming up.
I forgot about
Even
that.
even though Matthew Stafford is not doesn't notice because he was in Detroit, so he had to play in Green Bay and he had to play in Chicago, so he knows about this kind of weather. But I think the Eagles will win. I think Detroit will win, and I'm thinking Detroit win won't be close.
Mm,
I agree
mm,
with you. I think the Jaden Daniels magic wears out. I think they're going to win. I'm calling Detroit by at least 10.
okay. Um, I hmm. All right, I'm gonna start with the ones I agree with you about Detroit. I also agree about the Commanders' time running out. Um, I don't think to be honest, I think it's going to be a close game though. But I believe that Detroit's going to pull it out. Um, so I'll go Detroit. To be honest, my concern is the Ravens and Bills game. Because to be honest, I could see either one of them winning without question. And to be honest, I could see one of them winning convincingly. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go with the Bills. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens win it at all, but I'm gonna go with the Bills um, to close it out because of the weather conditions. I didn't factor that in as well. So, and that's another reason why I am also gonna go with Philly as well because of the weather conditions. I agree. I would love to see LA winning, but I believe Philly is going to come out. So I would see Philly and Detroit in the NFC, and I see the Bills, and I need to see as much as I don't want to see them. I need to see the Chiefs in there because the Bills need to face them again. Um, I don't think the Bills won't solidify themselves as the next the threat that they should be if the Chiefs doesn't win. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs and the Bills and Detroit and Philly in the championship in the conference championship game.
Al, I want to say something about that. I think with Detroit, I mean, I'm sorry, with the Ravens or Bills, that one is that's probably going to be the second best game of the year. I mean,
Yes.
second best game of the playoffs.
Question.
But I
Yes.
think both of them want Kansas City because both of them got a bone to pick, and I think that if they get the Texans, their road to the Super Bowl will be a little less satisfying
Yes, I agree.
because you didn't slay the dragon,
I
and
agree.
they were always it's always going to be like, yeah, you got a Super Bowl, but you didn't beat. It's that but that's going to mess them up. Now you
Yeah,
can only play who you play. Whoever loses, is what it is. But I think both of them are praying that Kansas City wins because both of them wants to get payback.
definitely, definitely. And to be honest, that would be kind of messed up if the Texans could say we slayed the dragon.
Yeah, because most people are going to be like, well, I don't need to see the AFC Championship game because if we're going to know come tomorrow night. So I mean, no, actually, we're going to know come tomorrow early evening
Hmm. True.
since they're the first game. So if Kansas City lose, I think that game between the Ravens and the Bills will go, but it's going to be a little less because they're not playing the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's going to be like we won, we're going to go, but it's going to be like we didn't go through Mahomes.
True, but if the Chiefs do lose, then the Ravens and Bills is like, nah, we if we beat who we beat between the two, whoever comes out on top, it's not a guarantee, but it's a good assumption that they will make it to the Super Bowl.
And that could be the point where they get so confident in themselves that they think they're going to win that they can let Houston slide in there. I
That's
don't think
true.
it's going to. I don't think that's going to happen. But stranger things in the NFL have happened.
That is true. That is true. That is definitely true. But we can definitely talk about that and find out the results tomorrow. At least on two of those games, the Commanders and the Lions play 8 o'clock p.m., but the Texans and Chiefs starts at 4:30 p.m. They are both tomorrow, and Rams and Eagles starts at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And the Ravens and Bills close it out at 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. Weather permitting, of course. I know it's going to be a good time for everyone to see. The conditions is going to definitely be a factor. I really didn't factor in with the snow coming down, so
I love
we
it.
shall see.
This is football. I don't want to. I don't want to see anything about the Super Bowl where it's in a controlled environment in a warm city. No, give me football. Football is in whatever environment that you have, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow. The Super Bowl is engineered to have it in a dome or in a warm weather situation. They had it in New Jersey. They no, excuse me, New York. They hated it.
No, it was in New Jersey.
New Jersey, sorry, and New Jersey. They hated it.
No, we repping that. If it's in if it was at MetLife Stadium, it was in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
they hated that. But you know, football is supposed to be football played. And Adrian, you can attest this. Whatever is played in whatever environment you got coming up. Unless it's a thunderstorm, then you got to go in. But outside of that, rain, sleet, or snow, you play. That's football.
Agreed. Agreed. And when it's really, really cold outside and you getting hit, it hurts. First it's your fingers, then it's your toes. Everything else, it hurts. So it'll be challenging for the Ravens and the Bills. But like I said earlier, they're both cold weather teams. They're prepared for it. It's been brick. And I mean it's been brick here in Baltimore in this area.
Yeah.
And I know it's even colder. You got the Great Lakes blowing off in Buffalo. So yeah, I know it's going to be crazy out there, especially with the snow that's supposed to be coming Sunday. That will be fun. That will be fun, and I'm sure it's going to be really cold in Kansas City too. Hell, it's going to be cold everywhere. Oh, Detroit's indoors.
Well, I got my thermal, so I'm good.
That's why it's called the 75-inch TV, so I can sit on my couch. Don't have to worry about when when I see them blowing, the cold air coming out from their helmet, I'm sitting there like, woo, yeah, but it's warm up here in this couch. So it's all good.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're all going to be looking with anticipation to see. But we're going to cut off short. So we could definitely talk about the NFC championship game, of course, because real quick, of course, we got Ohio State that is going against Notre Dame for the college football championship. Just your quick thoughts on the college football championship and the playoffs. What did you think about the playoffs now that they extended it to the 12 teams? And what do you think? Did you like the overall experience of the college football playoffs?
I do. I love that the first round of the playoffs are held on college campuses. That was electric. It was fun. Yes, would we have liked some closer competition as far as the score comes into play? Sure. But it showed that it doesn't necessarily have to be a blue blood that gets the top four seeds that come into the playoffs. So that was nice to kind of see the Boise States get their opportunity, because this is not their first rodeo, slaying the dragon. But overall, I thought it was a great playoffs, and I look forward to the Notre Dame Ohio State. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I want to see Marcus Freeman and them boys bring that chip home. Let one of us grab one of that championships for once. So I got to go with Notre Dame.
I agree with Ace's assessment. I like it. I think this is the best case scenario for the Big Ten. I think it's the worst case scenario for the SEC.
Hold on, one sec. Notre Dame's independent.
Ohio State's in the Big Ten. So I'm not saying.
Oh yeah, true. My bad.
Like I said, best case scenario for the Big Ten worst case scenario for the SEC because they don't have any teams in there. I've always thought that if you had an expanded playoffs and you had to have a lot of teams going at it, I've always questioned whether the SEC teams would really, make it to the championship because you had more teams to deal with, except two. And so I'm with you, Ace. I would like to see Marcus Freeman win it, but Notre Dame, their fans are insufferable. So um, I am torn because Notre Dame is insufferable. Ohio State insufferable. So to me, I'm like, this is I don't know.
Mm,
Mm.
My guess is I if I had to put money on it, well, I actually bet Notre Dame
okay.
because I think
Yeah.
Notre Dame might. I think this might be Notre Dame's year, and if they win it this year and win a national championship on the first 12-team playoff, they would be ungodly insufferable.
I completely agree with you, Smooth. I do want Notre Dame to win only for the fact that the head coach. That's the only reason why I'm rooting for that. Um, I have to admit that the playoffs definitely was more interesting than the college football selecting who should go. Um, I like it because, like you said, it gives the other teams the opportunity to prove they can actually do what they claim that they should be able to do. And that's when the national championship is given the opportunity. So they've been given the opportunity now. So I think that this should be the norm going forward. It benefits everyone because everyone is now looking at the bowl games or the quote unquote games, the college playoff games to see who can advance and who cannot. I love the fact that some of those games are held at the campuses because it's that electricity that provides much more enjoyable game watching. I'm definitely for all the playoff bracket. I'm definitely for it. Um, to be honest, it balanced everything out. Um, to be honest, I was kind of worried the fact that some way, some shape, or form, Alabama was going to make it into the mix, but that just completely like it's not even a pipsqueak from people that are those type of fans because they know that their team couldn't make it into the playoffs. So overall, I think that this was definitely enjoyable, and overall, I think that I definitely would love to continue this going forward. I don't think it needs to increase anymore. I think that the level of teams that are in the playoffs works for me, um, and just take it from there. So I'm in complete agreement with it, but I also am just rooting for Notre Dame to win only for the coach, only for the coach.
And
Um, that
I was gonna say I have one thing to say to the SEC teams that are crying about the playoffs and the seeding aspect of it. I'm gonna say this: if the SEC believe that they were the Premier League, if the SEC felt that they were better than everybody else, even the Big Ten, it shouldn't matter what the seeding is.
mm,
Because if your SEC team is better than whoever you're playing, you should beat them.
mm,
If you can't beat them, then guess what? The SEC is what I've always thought it was, top heavy.
Yep.
mm,
Georgia, Alabama, and that's it.
mm.
And I believe we've been conditioned to believe that the SEC overall was better than everybody else. But I'm like just saying, if you're the SEC, it shouldn't matter where you play. If you believe you're better than everybody else, you should beat them. If you can't, then guess what?
Win.
You're
And
not better than everybody else.
that's the level of that's where you this the problem of being entitled for so many amount of years where now you don't have the opportunity where your entitlement doesn't factor or doesn't matter at this stage. So I completely agree with you, Smooth. Like we always say that if you claim to be the best, you have to beat the best. And
Yep.
if you're not in that position where no matter where you were playing, if you can't beat the teams that is in front of you, there's no reason to complain.
The only team I would give credence to is Georgia because they lost their starting quarterback. So I will give them a pass. But Texas,
There's no
Alabama,
there's no excuse for Texas.
no.
Texas should have lost to Arizona State, but that's whether
You
you know.
did. You got that right. But like I said, Al, SEC. I don't want to hear you crying about the. No, if you're better than everybody else, then beat them. If you can't beat them, then guess what? Maybe you're just not as bad as anybody else. And I think over the next couple of years, this playoffs is going to prove at the end of the day, the S at the SEC is not as dominant as we
They
thought they were.
they have history, name brand blue blood history.
They're living off of Alabama. That's it.
I mean, yes,
That's
they're
it.
living off Bama, they're living off Georgia, they're living
That's
off the
it.
glory days of Florida, the glory days of Tennessee, the glory days of all those schools that used to win it back in the 90s. But current day, you're right. There's only two schools, Georgia and Alabama. And you
They're
see
top heavy.
Alabama had a down year.
And Jalen Milroe is getting the heck out of town because he don't want to get blamed for it all.
Facts. Very
That
much
is so
so.
true. So true.
But not to mess up your soliloquy, Al. But go ahead.
No. Actually, I'm just happy. To be honest, that's kind of the soapbox for the day. Um, in a sense. But I all I'm just saying is that at the end of the day, I believe that this will benefit the NCAA. And as much as I hate to say it, I also believe that the transfer portal also benefits it as well because of the balance that we're starting to see. But I digress because we could talk about the NCAA next week. And we could definitely talk about the winner of the championship next week as well, because that is on Monday at 7:30 p.m. So, without further ado, we're going to stop here. So, fellas, let them know where they can find you at on the social media platform.
Yeah, you can find me on whatever that thing Elon Musk owns. I don't know, X or whatever the hell you want to call it. Cat Daddy 63. That's Cat Daddy 63 on Oblivion. There you go.
We said Oblivion.
Maybe Adrian won't be on, Cat Daddy Oblivion on X anymore because Elon Musk might take him off. However, um, you can find me at Ross #7 on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. But I also want to give a quick shout out to Dawn Staley becoming the highest woman basketball coach paid. And I want to say it is well deserved. Well deserved. And she has some clauses in there. So if she goes to the W, she goes to the NBA as a assistant or a regular coach, she won't have to owe any money. But I want to say she well deserved that.
I think she should stay right where she is and develop them young ladies.
I
They
totally agree.
they balling
At
down
least,
in South Carolina.
at least for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Definitely agree with you on that. Um, I mean, I mean, I agree with you to stay there for a little bit longer, but I think that, and we can talk about this. I'm sorry. I think that the WNBA also needs her as well. For a lot of different reasons.
I can see that.
But we can talk more about that later. You can not find me on X. I removed my account. Um, Apologies. You can now find me at I Am Out Calls now on Fanbase and on Blue Sky. Those are the new apps that I've been signed on, so you can find me there. And it's also on Instagram. I don't do that as much, but I do definitely do Blue Sky now a lot more. So you can find me there. But we appreciate all the people checking us out. I see a couple of people checking us out on YouTube Live. We appreciate the love and support. Also on Facebook Live, we appreciate the love and support. Catch us next week on Guys Talking Sports as we talk more about the NBA, the MLB, whenever that comes back. But more importantly, the NFL and the NCAA football. We're definitely going to talk about that. But until then, we thank you for checking us out. Until next time, next week, same time, same channel. God bless. Have a good one.